Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today's presentation is on the Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL Leather, which is the new boot released by Puma. This presentation will describe Puma and Puma Evo Speed, identify the internal and external influences affecting the possible purchase decisions. 3. Segment the market and identify a target market for Puma. 4. Have an in-depth look at the two internal influences, perception and motivation, and the two external influences, social class and family/household, affecting the purchase decision of Puma. 5. Identify the benefits and limits of these influences. And 6. Provide recommendations on how Puma should develop or alter its marketing strategy. Puma is a German company that was founded in 1948 by Rudolf Dassler. The Puma brand originally started as a shoe company before expanding to make a variety of sports equipment. Puma makes primarily soccer and athletics products, but also caters for other sports such as cricket, golf, and tennis. Puma has created an image of fast, with its motto "Forever Faster," fastest sports brand in the world, and as well as being the major sponsor for the fastest man in the world, Usain Bolt. Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL Leather is the latest football boot released by Puma. Its main selling point, as with all its other products, is speed. The boot weighs a mere 103 grams, which is the second lightest boot ever, giving it that barefoot feel, and the player isn't being dragged down by heavy boots. The boot comes in different colors, however the most common is bright orange. All purchasing decisions are made to fulfill needs and solve problems of customers. The customer will identify a problem and look to solve it through purchasing products. This is known as problem recognition. Problem recognition is the first step in a complex series of steps known as the consumer decision-making process. Problem recognition involves recognizing the existence of a discrepancy between the consumer's desired state, what the customer would like, and the actual state, what the customer perceives as already existing. Both the desired state and the actual state are influenced by the consumer's lifestyle and current situation. If the discrepancy between these two states is significantly large and important, the consumer will begin to search for a solution to the problem. Desire to resolve recognized problems depends on two factors. 1. The magnitude of the discrepancy between the desired state and the actual state, and 2. The relative importance of the problem. If the discrepancy is large and the problem is not important to the consumer, they may not move to the next stage, which is known as information search. The two types of consumer problems are active problem and inactive problem. Active problem is a problem that the consumer is aware of or will become aware of in the normal course of events, and an inactive problem is a problem of which the consumer is not yet aware. There are two influences that affect the consumer purchasing decisions. They are internal factors and external factors. Internal factors. Internal factors, also called personal factors, represent the consumer's ability to benefit directly from the product in question. Examples of internal factors include perception. Perception is the process in which the consumer interprets stimuli. It can be described as how we see the world around us. In general, perception is gathering information through our senses. Motivation. Motivation is psychological forces that influence a person's behavior. It accounts for individual intensity, direction, and persistence. It provides specific direction to a response. Involvement. Involvement is a reflection of strong motivation in terms of a consumer's relationship and personal relevance to that product or service. Involvement can vary in an individual depending on the situation. There are three types of involvement. Routinized response behavior, so buying things as a routine, daily use, such as bread and milk. Low involvement decision, require little decision making. These products are bought a few times a year, so new clothes. High involvement decision making involve higher risk and higher value products bought once in a lifetime or a few times in a lifetime, so perhaps a brand new car. Personality, the psychological characteristics of a person and how they respond to their environment. This is useful in marketing because marketers can identify similar personality traits in consumers and target them. Learning, changing of behavior as a result from personal experiences. Knowledge is gained from consumption and the consumer applies this when considering a purchase. Attitude, the way a customer thinks and acts towards a product based on a situation. Attitudes can be positive and negative. For example, a positive attitude towards life insurance could be, now that I am in my old age, I could die anytime soon and I don't want my family to be burdened by the funeral costs. A negative attitude could be, once I'm dead, I don't have to worry about money, so I don't need life insurance. External factors. External factors are factors that influence a consumer from the outside environment. Some external factors are culture, subculture, household, and social class. Culture is passed down from one generation to another. Culture influences consumers through the norms and values established by the society in which they live. Culture helps to satisfy our social, personal, and physiological needs. Subculture. A subculture is a segment within a culture that share a set of meanings or values. It helps to categorize the consumer and aids the market researcher in identifying characteristics. Subcultures are based on different aspects such as age, religion, ethnicity, gender, and geography. Examples of subcultures are teenagers, Muslims, single parents, North Indian, etc. Household. Household is whom the consumer lives with. For most people, it is a family. Parents have a large influence on an individual growing up, and their consumer habits will often pass on to the individual. Family influences culture. Social class. Social class is an individual's status in society and how others see them. It is based on a variety of factors such as income, occupation, and education. Market segmentation is the process of dividing an entire market into different consumer segments. Targeting or target marketing then entails deciding which potential customer segments the company will focus on. Some of the main types of market segmentation include demographic, geographic, psychographic, and behavioral. Demographic segmentation is segmentation according to age, gender, income, education, race, ethnicity, etc. Geographic segmentation is segmentation based on geography. For example, continent, country, city, state, rural, urban, suburban, etc. Psychographic segmentation is segmentation that encompasses different personality traits, interests, lifestyles, attitudes, and values of consumers. Behavioral segmentation is segmentation focusing on the behavior displayed when consuming a product. For example, the way a consumer or population responds to, uses, or know of a product. So on screen here we have the target market for Puma Evo Speed. You can see gender, it's for both genders, ages 14 to 28. This is because this boot is high class and it's for people who are serious about their sports and want a competitive advantage, wanting to go on to the next level, and they believe by purchasing this it'll help them get there. Any religion, any race, any education level. Social status, middle class and higher. That's because this boot is quite expensive, $320 for a brand new pair, and some lower income families cannot afford that on a pair of boots. Puma's main competitors are Nike and Adidas. Puma's recently new slogan, fastest sports brand in the world, suggests that they target those serious about their sports and want a competitive advantage. Their primary target would be one who believes he may generate a career out of sport, and with the best technology, it may help him realize that dream. The consumer believes that by purchasing products, they will become faster and their performances will increase. A likely consumer profile for Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL leather would be the photo here. This is Kriko Sia. He is 22 years old and wears Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL leather for optimal performance. Kriko is a Muslim living in New Orleans, Louisiana, US. Kriko is of Turkish descent and a middle-class citizen. Kriko's family migrated to the US 21 years ago. Kriko plays striker in the top division for his local team and believes that the lightweight of the Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL helps weave through defenders and sprint past his opposition, and the barefoot-like feel gives him ultimate control. Kriko's dream is to play for his favourite team, Real Madrid. Kriko works as a clerk in a sports store and plays soccer semi-professional. He wants to turn into a full-time professional and has scouts currently watching him. Kriko wears Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL to give him the best possible chance of getting selected. When a potential customer is faced with a decision whether to purchase the Puma Evo Speed or not, the internal and external factors affecting their decision are perception, motivation, social class, and family. Perception is the critical activity that links the individual consumer to group, situation, and marketer influences. Thus, it is vital to understand how consumers process information, the steps and factors involved. Perception consists of those activities by which an individual acquires and assigns meaning to stimuli. The 4 steps of perception are exposure, attention, interpretation, and memory. These steps are used before the consumer's decision to purchase or not. Exposure can be deliberate, i.e. consumers seek it, or exposure can be random, example billboards or newspaper. Attention is determined by stimulus, individual, situation. Stimulus factors are physical characteristics of the stimulus itself, such as contrast, size, intensity, color, and movement, format, position, etc. Individual factors are needs and interests. Situational factors is involvement. There are 2 types of interpretation: cognitive interpretation and affective interpretation. Cognitive interpretation is the process whereby stimuli are placed in existing categories of meaning. Affective interpretation is processing and adding meaning by feeling. Innovation in products can be defined as the technology applied to products in order to generate new attributes whose characteristics or uses differ from similar previously produced products. This perception of something valuable in the product facilitates the decision to purchase, increasing the likelihood of success of the possible innovation. The innovative lightweight of the Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL increases the value of the boot in the eyes of the consumer. Other features of the Puma Evo Speed include ultra soft and thin premium leather. Upper provides comfort and unique touch to the bore. Raised speed track spine improves reactivity and torsional stability. Minimalistic speed frame structure supports and stabilizes during forward acceleration and quick turns. Dual density nylon outsole with injected traction studs and integrated minimalistic heel counter. Mix of conical and bladed studs improves traction and acceleration. Puma form strip at lateral side. Packaged with an extra pair of removable insoles for added cushioning. None of these features have previously been used in Puma products. These innovative features create the consumer's perception of the boots that they are highly valuable and they need these boots to be better than their opposition. Motivation. The result is a desire for a product, service, or experience. It is the drive to satisfy needs and wants, both physiological and psychological, through the purchase and use of products and services. The need for uniqueness is analysed in studies of consumer behaviour because it impacts on consumer preferences. The need for uniqueness creates a motivation to purchase products that reflect an image which differentiates the purchaser from others. This need is materialized by the acquisition and use of differentiated products in order to enhance social image, thus avoiding similarity in comparison to other individuals. Consumers are motivated to purchase the Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL because of its uniqueness, and by making the purchase, they are fulfilling their self-esteem and belongingness needs. They are fulfilling their self-esteem needs by purchasing high-class boots. It makes them feel good about themselves, and they are setting themselves apart from other people. It also fulfills belongingness because they are joining a high class of people who have the same boots, and they gain a sense of belonging. Social class is an individual's status in society and how others see them. It is based on a variety of factors such as income, occupation, and education. Different examples of social class are the lower class, poor and unemployed; working class, manual labour workers, little education with little or no prestige; middle class, working professionals such as doctors and teachers; and upper class, the very rich. Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL leather is a fairly expensive product. The Puma store online lists a brand new pair at $320. Social class influences the consumer's decision whether or not to purchase because social class determines the value of the boots. For example, if you compare an unemployed person who is on benefits and receives $500 a fortnight and a middle class worker who earns $3,000 a fortnight, the value of the $320 is much higher for the person on benefits, as they have little to no disposable income, whereas the middle class worker could easily afford to spend $320. It is therefore highly unlikely that people from the lower class would purchase such prestigious boots. Family. The families may be the most influencing factor for an individual. It forms an environment of socialization in which an individual will evolve, shape his personality and acquire values, but also develop attitudes and opinions on various subjects such as politics, society, social relations, or himself and his desires, but also on his consumer habits, his perception of brands, and the products he buys. We all kept, for many of us, and for some products, the brands, the same buying habits and consumption patterns that the ones we had known in our family. Perceptions and family habits generally have a strong influence on the consumer buying behavior. People would tend to keep the same as those acquired with their families. For example, if during your childhood you never ate fast food because your parents didn't and described it as a product full of fat and no good for health, there is a far less chance that you are going to consume it when you're an adult as someone who has since childhood. Therefore, when it comes to someone purchasing a pair of Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL, family has a major influence. For instance, someone who grew up in a family who is very successful and is used to having nice, expensive things is more likely to purchase the boots than someone of the opposite upbringing. Likewise, if someone grew up in a family who trusts the Puma brand and often purchase Puma products, it is likely they will purchase a pair of Evo Speed 1.4 SL. From a consumer's point of view, there are a few benefits and limits of Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL. So the benefits, reasons why the consumer should or will buy the product: innovative technology. As mentioned before, Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL has many innovative and desirable features, such as lightweight, raised speed track spine improves reactivity and torsion stability, and minimalistic speed frame structures supports and stabilizes during forward acceleration and quick turns. World-class athletes. Many football stars such as Mario Balotelli and Marco Reus wear Puma Evo Speed 1.4. These players are in great form, and this will influence the consumer as they want to be like their idols. Positive reviews. All reviews thus far on Puma Evo Speed 1.4 have been positive, leading the consumer to believe that they will get value for their money. Limits. Reasons why the consumer shouldn't or won't buy the product. The cost. The cost is fairly high for a pair of soccer boots. As established before, it is highly unlikely that someone from the lower class would purchase such prestigious boots. Reputation. Although Puma is a world-class brand, it is still behind powerhouses Nike and Adidas in terms of sales. Customers tend to be loyal to brands, so they're more likely to stay with Nike and Adidas. Evolving technology. Although these boots are an innovative product, we live in an ever-changing world. It won't be too long until a better product is released. From analysis, one recommendation on how Puma should develop or alter its marketing strategy is making the product accessible to lower income members. This can be done by lowering the price of the Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL. Another recommendation would be to associate or create an image of family with their product. It was mentioned earlier in the report how influential family is to consumers' buying behavior. Perhaps if Puma were to donate a percentage of their profits to disadvantaged families, this would encourage the public to buy their products, and Puma would be associated as a family brand. In conclusion, this report has described Puma Evo Speed 1.4 SL leather as a lightweight orange-colored boot with ultra-thin premium leather. It has identified internal and external factors affecting the possible purchase decisions, such as personality, attitude, and culture. The target market has been identified as 14 to 18-year-olds who want a competitive advantage of middle class and above. This report has had an in-depth look at two internal factors, perception and motivation, and the two external factors, social class and family or household. Benefits and limits have been identified from a consumer's point of view, and they include costs, innovative technology, and positive reviews. Finally, recommendations on how Puma should develop or alter its marketing strategy include lowering costs and creating a family image. Thank you.